Hey everyone, this is Dr. K speaking from the STEM response team at the University of Wolverhampton. Well, spring is truly sprunging outside, so I've come for my daily exercise today. Now I've come for a walk on the canal by where I live. Now, you know, there's so many things to see and hear out here. I mean, like, you can hear the birds singing, there's plants growing, and it's the plants that we've come to look at today, because one of the things I really like doing is foraging for wild food. It's one of the things I really am very passionate about. So what I thought I'd do is show you a few of the things that you might be able to see and perhaps eat if you're brave enough, that you can find on a walk out in the countryside. Let's have a look. So I'm going to swap to my head mounted camera so you can see what I am seeing, because I've already found some fantastic edible herbs for us to have a look at. Okay, so straight away I can see down here a plant with really little white flowers. Now, one thing I will say right now is that you shouldn't be picking these kinds of wild herbs and the plants I'm going to show you from right down low where things like dogs could wee, all right, because that could expose you to diseases that animals carry. However, if you are going to pick herbs like this as well, one of the good things is take them home, give them a good wash. Now then, there is laws against foraging large amounts of things and rare plants and things like that, so you really must take that into account when you're going out and having a look for some of these plants. Now then, the first one I want to show you is this one, as I said, with the little white flowers. Now then, let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at one of the leaves. And this grows everywhere by the side of paths. You'll see it in your garden, and hopefully you can see that. And this is called hairy bittercress. Now, it doesn't sound like a very nice name. It is a weed in your garden. You will see it. Anybody who looks after your garden will hate this stuff because it gets all over the place. And however, it does taste just like watercress, and it grows everywhere. It's fantastic. And I really like it, and I use it in salads all the time. Now, another plant that we can find here is something called goosegrass. Now, you can see that here just in my fingers. You might know it as sticky weed or cleavers or something like that. And yes, it's the thing that we pick out of the hedgerows and we throw at each other, and it sticks to the people that you're with back and things like that. Now, it's a really nice herb to eat. It's very nice in stews. It's not so nice on its own because it's covered in these sticky little needles. And but you know, a long time ago we even used to stuff mattresses with a relative of this stuff, which was called ladies' bed straw. And it is really nice. It sort of makes quite a nice tea, to be honest. And it is, again, very nutritious. Now, the one thing we have got here, I'll climb slightly up this slope, is the good old common stinging nettle. Now, this is it's coming out in season now. It's really good. You've got these really nice, really good tender tops. And it is the tender tops that you want to be picking, okay? Because these are the most tender parts of this plant, and they'll be nicer to eat. And how you eat nettles is you just stew it down very simply, and you treat it exactly like spinach. Now then, the one thing we must know is how to pick nettles. Now, you should be at home wearing gloves, but there is a saying, and it sort of goes, grasp the nettle, right? And you know, they say that because nettles are covered in little tiny spines, and those spines will inject something called formic acid into your skin. So if you grab them really hard, actually what will happen is those spines will be crushed, and that formic acid won't go into your skin, just like this. So I can pick them and I won't get stung, but you mustn't do that at home. You must wear gloves. Don't forget to go home, boil these. You can eat it like a vegetable, like spinach. But also, if you've got hay fever or anything like that, if you make a tea out of the leaves, it acts as something called an antihistamine and can reduce the symptoms of allergies. Isn't that absolutely fantastic? Okay, so I found something else that's fantastic, and I'm not going to go wading too far into this, but hopefully you can see those very dark green leaves and those purple stems in front of me. And of course, what we've got here is their common bramble. So we have got our lovely blackberries that are just starting to sprout, and you might see some of these sprouts that are coming out of these now, and they're going to turn into big runners. Now again, this will go absolutely everywhere, and in the autumn, sort of the back end of August and things like that, there will be some fantastic berries there for you to pick. So let's keep an eye on them. Whoa, so I can see there's a nice old tree here, and so let's go and meet it. This is called a hawthorn tree, and it's absolutely fantastic, sometimes called a May tree, and it's absolutely wonderful because it produces berries and the leaves are edible when they're young like this. So you should be able to see these little tiny shoots coming out like this. All right, now a long time ago when kids used to come out and play, kids used to eat this to try and sort of stave off hunger, if you like. It's a really old-fashioned thing to do, and actually kids used to call these leaves, they used to call them bread and cheese. So that's what they used to call the leaves of the hawthorn tree, and you can eat them. So it's not, they don't taste especially good. How they thought this was like bread and cheese, I have no idea. If you are going to eat leaves from a tree, just make sure there's no bugs inside them, and actually you see there's some little flower buds in there, because in a few months this tree will be covered in white tiny flowers that smell really sweet. But you can eat these. And what they're really good to do is actually put inside things like steamed sort of pastry recipes. And so there's a really nice recipe for those of you who eat meat and things like bacon, that if you make suet pastry and then you put a layer of these leaves on the pastry and then cover that in bacon, simply roll it up and bake it, and you will have a fantastic meal with these fantastic hawthorn leaves. Okay, so I've seen something else that's really interesting down here, and this is right next to the path where I'm walking on, this canal towpath. Right, now although I could eat this, I'm not going to put it in my mouth because I can't wash it. All right, but this is something that looks, hopefully you can see that, something that looks like a nettle. And actually this is white dead nettle because it's not stingy, which is fab, as you can see. Like, I can just pick this up, right, and you see it's got these fabulous white flowers on it. Now it's got a bit of bird poo on it as well, so definitely not going to eat that. And so you can see it's got these really lovely little white flowers, look a bit like orchid flowers. All right, and actually kids a long time ago used to suck the ends of these because they've got sweet nectar inside. And you can eat this too, this white dead nettle. It certainly won't sting you. One of the things it's really good for, right, in old folklore, is actually it's supposed to be very good for stopping bleeding. So if you cut yourself, you can get one of these leaves, you can squidge it up to get all the juice out, right, and then you can rub it on your cut, and it should act as something called a styptic and actually stop that bleeding. But you know, it's always better to get home and treat it properly instead of just finding a hedgerow plant just like this from the side of a canal towpath and wiping it all over yourself. So just remember that. However, this is really good because it's just like a nettle. It's got the same sort of nutritional properties, but it doesn't sting you, and it looks really pretty. Whoa everyone, look what I found. This is absolutely fantastic. This is an elder tree, and these are absolutely amazing. They've got the most fantastic flowers later on in the year, white bunches like umbrellas full of the sweetest smelling flowers that you can make elderflower cordial out of. And they grow elderberries, which of course you can eat. Now the thing is with this particular tree and the berries that it makes, if you eat too many, it will make you poo a lot. So although it's absolutely fantastic and it produces some really amazing things, when the berries come out, they're nice for making pickles and all nice things out of and adding to things. But don't eat too many off a tree. I know by bitter experience that actually they're not so good for your toileting. But there's one amazing thing about an elder tree that is absolutely fantastic, because you can make some very amazing things out of them. And in another episode of us walking about and doing things, I'm going to show you how to make something absolutely amazing out of an elder tree branch. So we're almost at the end of our walk together today, and I've found one last plant that is absolutely fab and really easy to identify, and is really prolific this time of year because things are just starting to wake up, as I said. But this is one you can find all over the place. Now this one is called, and I'll pick off one of the side leaves so it can keep growing, it's called hedge mustard, or Jack by the hedge it's called. And actually if you squidge it up if you squidge it up and smell it, you will smell oniony, garlicky stuff, and actually that's what it used to be used for, because it is an oniony flavouring, and it's really nice if you make a sauce with it, a bit like you used to make old-fashioned mint sauce with sugar and vinegar and things like that. And if you eat things like lamb or other meats like that, right, and you like mint sauce on things, I love mint sauce on mashed potato, then this chopped up in that sauce with some mint is absolutely a old school classic, and it is so nice and so easy to find. So that's called Jack by the Hedge. It's got these big leaves, you can see this here. All right, I'll actually pick a little bunch for you. It's got these things, it looks a bit like a really wide brimmed nettle like this. All right, you can see that leaf there. It's got this jaggedy sort of edge, not spiky like a nettle, but nicely rounded. And when you crush it, and it should have white flowers later in the year, when you crush it, it will smell of garlic. Now, the golden rule actually is, of course, never to pick anything that you don't recognise, okay? Well, that's the end of our time together today. Maybe when you go out on a walk next time, when you're having your exercise time during your isolation, you can go and find some of the plants and trees that we've looked at today. But remember, don't pick or eat anything unless you absolutely know what it is. Remember, even if you do pick something, remember to wash it before you eat it. Bye bye.